Astudiaethau, gobeithio eich bod chi yn mwynhau y noson yn rithiol. Felly croeso i gyflwyniad astudiaethau grefyddol neu religious studies presentation. I hope you're having a good night, and within this slide you will hear a bit more about what you will be studying throughout the 2 years on the course and how the exams are currently running with regards to the subject. Felly wrth edrych ar cynnwys blwyddyn 12, mae yna 2 arholiad ar ddiwedd blwyddyn 12. Mae gyda ni 2 uned neu 2 ran i flwyddyn 12, felly mae yna arholiad mwysig ac athroniaeth bydd rhaid i chi eistedd ar ddiwedd blwyddyn 12, a'n yr un peth mae arholiad crefydd. I ni wedi dewis Islam, felly chi wedi gwneud Islam fel tygau, i ni cario hynny trwyddo. Felly, ychydig yn rwyddach a bod ni'n datblygu ar y gwybodaeth blaenorol sydd gyda chi ar Islam o tygau byddwn ni ar gyfer yr arholiad crefydd. I roi wybod i chi, mae astudiaethau crefyddol yn rhan o'r bartneriaeth sy'n golygu mae gwersi yn digwydd ar safle gwyr ac yn Bryn Tawe. Oherwydd hyn, beth sydd wedi digwydd eleni yw bod athrawon gwyr, felly fi a Mrs Stevens, yn dysgu yr arholiad mwysig ac athroniaeth, tra bod Mrs Jenkins yn Bryn Tawe yn dysgu'r Islam. Eleni wedi bod bach yn wahanol oherwydd mae fe gwersi wedi bod yn rithiol gyda Bryn Tawe, ond ni'n gobeithio erbyn mis Medi byddwn ni nôl i'r arfer ble byddech chi yn teithio i Bryn Tawe i gael y gwersi ar Islam. So, looking at the Year 12 content, at the end of Year 12 there are 2 exams, and these 2 exams must be sat at the end of Year 12 in order to go on to Year 13. There will be a philosophy and ethics exam, and then a religion exam which is on Islam. We've decided to carry on with Islam as this is the religion that you look at during GCSEs, so we've decided that this will be easier, and that's all you will be doing is strengthening your prior knowledge on Islam and finding out a bit more and going a bit deeper into the religion. Religious studies is a part of the partnership, therefore lessons are taught in Gwyr and Bryn Tawe. Usually the lessons are on in both schools, and that you will travel between. There are buses available. This year has been a bit different, and the lessons have been online as we have not been allowed to travel between schools. Although we are very hopeful that by September that we will be allowed to go from school to school. So this year, what myself and Mrs Stevens have taught the philosophy and ethics exams in Gwyr, and then Bryn Tawe were in charge of the religious exam. We're looking at Islam. Felly o fewn mwysig ac athroniaeth ar gyfer blwyddyn 12, bydd ni yn astudio y deddf naturiol. Felly gyda hyn, felly chi heb clywed am hyn yn barod, beth ni'n mynd i fod yn wneud yw edrych beth yw'r deddf naturiol gan ffocysu ar erthyliad ac euthanasia. Felly, yn edrych ar hynny ac yn gweld sut mae'r deddf naturiol yn cael effaith ar sut mae pobl yn meddwl a'i barn nhw am erthyliad ac euthanasia, yn edrych ar mwysig sefyllfa, sef bod rhaid i ni edrych ar bob sefyllfa'n unigol ac yn penderfynu beth yw'r peth gywir i wneud, a bod ni yn wneud mwysig sefyllfa gan ffocysu ar berthynas amlgarwriaeth, felly perthynas gyda mwy nag un person a perthynas un ryw. Edrych ar utilitariaeth, gan ffocysu ar arbrofi ar anifeiliaid am resymau meddygol ac arfau niwclear. Edrych am meddylfryd moesegol, beth sy'n rhoi llwybr cywir i ni ddilyn. Sut ydyn ni fel bodau dynol yn gwybod beth sy'n dda, beth sy'n drwg, a sut i ni'n gwybod beth i'w wneud ym mhob sefyllfa. A wedyn dadleuon dros fodolaeth Duw. Felly sut i ni'n gallu cwestiynu Duw, sut mae pobl ar draws y byd yn cwestiynu ei fodolaeth. Within philosophy and ethics in Year 12, we will be studying natural law. So looking at The Natural Law by Thomas Aquinas, focusing on abortion and euthanasia. So looking at natural law and then putting it into action and how people use the natural law to agree or disagree with abortion and euthanasia. Then we look at situational ethics, focusing on gay marriage and polyamorous relationships. Situational ethics is that we must look at each situation differently and decide what is right and wrong by looking at that situation. Utilitarianism, which is ensuring that every action that we do ends up being happiness for the most people. So every decision that we should make should ensure that happiness is brought to the majority of people. But we also question, what is happiness? How can we measure this happiness? And by using this, we look on focusing on the rights to test on animals for medical purposes and nuclear weapons, looking at ethical thinking, so focusing on how do we as human beings know what the correct path is? How do we know what's right and wrong? How do we assess this? That is ethical thinking. And then arguments over the existence of God. So we look at the different arguments, how people are saying God definitely exists, and then how people contradict this and say, no, God doesn't exist for these reasons. Yna ar gyfer yr aroliad crefydd ac yn ffocysu ar Islam, ni'n mynd i fod yn edrych ar bywyd Mohammed. Sut oedd y dwyrain canol cyn i Islam bodoli? Sut oedd bywyd yn y dwyrain canol? Yn anffodus, cyn Islam, oedd bywyd yn y dwyrain canol yn llawn ryfel. Oedd pobl o grwpiau wahanol o grefyddau yn ymladd yn erbyn ei gilydd. Nid oedd bywyd yn wych. Yna ni'n edrych ar rinweddau Allah, felly ni'n edrych chydig am hyn, ni'n edrych ar y 99 enw Allah, ond ni'n mynd i atgyfnerthu sut mae Muslimiad yn disgrifio Allah. Bywyd crefyddol, bydd ni'n ffocysu ar y 5 pilar a sut mae Muslimiaid yn ei ddilyn, gan ganolbwyntio ar Zaca, sef yr elusen roi 2.5%, Sala, addoli a Hajj Penrhyndod, ac edrych ar y ferion crefyddol sy'n dylanwadu ar hunaniaeth, felly pwysigrwydd y mosg a gwyliau megis Ramadan. Mae llwyth o hyn yn pethau i chi wedi wneud o blaen, ond beth ni'n mynd i wneud yw ffocysu yn ddyfnach, ni'n mynd i atgyfnerthu eich gwybodaeth flaenorol. So looking at the religion exam, this is what will be taught in Bryn Tawe. Looking at life of Muhammad, what type of life did people of the Middle East live during Muhammad's life? How did Muhammad live before he had the revelation? How did the discovery of Islam change the Middle East? We're aware that there was a lot of fighting and wars in the Middle East during Muhammad's life, and looking at how Islam changed this. Looking at Allah's characteristics, we've done this before in GCSE, so we've looked at the 99 names of Allah, but we will be strengthening this prior knowledge of what we've taught on GCSE and how Muslims describe Allah, which is God, and have a deeper understanding. Looking at religious life, so we look into the 5 pillars again, but we will concentrate specifically on Salah, the prayer, the Hajj, which is the pilgrimage, and Zakat, the charity, and religious practices that influence identity, so the importance of the mosque and religious festivals, including Ramadan. So a lot of these we have done briefly during GCSEs, but we will be looking further into this and strengthening our prior information. Felly, yn blwyddyn 20, yr un peth bod ni'n mynd i edrych ar moeseg athroniaeth ac Islam, ond mae yna 2 aroliad ar wahân yn blwyddyn 20. Felly bydd chi'n eisiau aroliad moeseg, aroliad athroniaeth, aroliad Islam. Year 13, similarly, you will also study ethics, philosophy, and a religion. We still carry on with Islam, but instead of being 2 exams, there are now 3 exams. The ethics and philosophy exams are separate in year 13. Dwi'n edrych ar moeseg yn blwyddyn 20, felly mae hyn yn mynd i fod ar aroliad ar wahân. I ni cario ymlaen gyda meddylfryd moesegol dechreuon ni yn blwyddyn 10 ac yn edrych ar yr ymagweddau metaffysegol, naturiolaethau, sythwelediaeth, a cwestiynu sut ni'n gwybod beth sy'n dda a drwg, felly yn datblygu ar hynny. Edrych ar moeseg ddeontolegol gan ffocysu ar y gosb eithaf, a penderfyniad y syniad bod bodau dynol gyda gwewyllus rydd, ond yn cwestiynu ydy dynoliaeth wedi cael ei ragordeinio, felly bod Duw wedi penderfynu beth sy'n digwydd i ni yn barod. So the year 13 ethics content, we'll be looking at ethical thinking again in year 13, so strengthening the prior knowledge we've learned in year 12. We will be looking at the ideological ethics, focusing on the death penalty, and determinism. So the idea that human beings have free will given by God, although are our lives predestined. Therefore, question, has our life already been mapped out for us? Felly edrych ar cynnwys blwyddyn 20 ar athroniaeth. Ni'n mynd edrych ar heriau gred crefyddol gan edrych sut mae pobl yn cwestiynu crefyddau. Edrych ar profiad crefyddol gan edrych ar wyrthiau. Ffordd i ni'n gallu gweud bod gwyrthiau wedi digwydd neu beidio, a oes wir ffordd i brofi hyn. Ac yna'n edrych ar iaith grefyddol, edrych ar sut mae symbolau yn bwysig i grefyddau. Enghraifft, y groes, sut mae hynny yn symbol o croeshoelio Iesu a sut mae'n cael ei defnyddio o ddydd i ddydd. So in year 13, we'll be looking at the challenges towards religion, studying Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, and discussing whether religion is a product of human thought rather than the product of a superior such as God. So is it just something that people have decided to create rather than actual God, questioning how we prove a religious experiences. Therefore, when we look at miracles, how can we actually prove that they happened? And then looking at religious languages, looking at the importance of symbols and how they played a role in these religions. Ac I ddod â'r cyflwyniad I ddiwedd, ni'n mynd I edrych ar y datblygiad hanesyddol mewn meddylfryd crefyddol yn Islam. Felly sut oedd pobl yn meddwl am crefydd, sut oedd hyn wedi cael effaith ar Islam. Ni'n mynd I edrych ar sut mae Islam yn ymateb I grefyddau eraill gan gynnwys anffyddiaeth a datblygu'r wybodaeth flaenorol o'r Quran, rheolau Sharia a jihad. So to finish this, we will be looking at Islam once again. We will look at the historically significant developments in religious thinking, so how the development of maybe science had an effect on Islam, looking at the responses to other religions and non-religions, and then developing our prior knowledge of the Quran, the Sharia laws, and jihad. So that is year 13. That is the 2 years worth of content. If you have any questions, please email me on the email that's on the next slide. A felly, hynny yw'r cyflwyniad wedi dod I ben. Ar y sleid nesaf, mae fy e-bost I. Os mae eisiau unrhyw gwybodaeth ychwanegol arnych chi, rhowch e-bost cyflym a byddai'n dod nôl atych mor gynted ac sy'n bosib. Felly diolch am wrando a gobeithio eich weld chi blwyddyn nesaf. Diolch.